I'm Abby, and we're here at Wilson's Garden Center in the Idea Gardens, and we're going to work our way through the raised bed and give you an update on what's going on here. It finally stopped raining yesterday, and so we're hoping that'll give things a chance to dry out because it's really wet and some of the plants aren't quite happy about that, but can't do anything about that. So over here, the cauliflower has some bug damage. We talked about that in our last video. So this evening, once the sun's down, I'll spray that with neem oil. I've picked off any of the cabbage worms that I found, but I'll just spray it just as a preventative measure to keep things from getting out of hand there. This cucumber has some damage here from the last time we sprayed neem oil on it. We sprayed in the morning, but it was a really hot day. So it doesn't hurt anything. We're just going to snip those leaves off that are damaged. But it's a good thing to note and keep in mind that it might be better just to spray in the evening and let that sit on the plant overnight, and then you shouldn't have to worry about that happening. Broccoli is doing well here. It's just starting to form a head down in there. Good big healthy plant. And our summer squash looks great. The beans are good. Zucchini's growing. Cabbage looks really good. We'll be able to harvest that in another week or two. Chives and thyme. And the nasturtiums that we planted from seed have all sprouted and look good. Asparagus is still producing. You can still keep eating that. Kale, we picked more of that last time we were out here. Looks really good. Mascot green beans. And then I picked more Swiss chard. So lots of that. And more sandy lettuce as well. The beets are actually ready to harvest, so we should do that right now.
How can you tell when the beets are ready to harvest?
You can just kind of move the soil away and see what size it is there. So, and you can pick them at whatever size you want. They could go a little farther than this, or I mean, you can pick them when they're smaller like that. If you want really tender beets. If you let them get too huge, they're going to be a little tough. So, you don't want to let that happen. It looks like that little one in the center hasn't grown much, so we'll just leave it. And I have some more seeds here, so we can replant for another crop of beets. And all these beet greens, you can use those like the Swiss chard greens. You can boil them down and have butter and salt, vinegar on them. They're really good. We have some little weeds here. Get rid of those. And the kind of beet we're going to replant is called Cylindra, and they're long and thin. So we'll see how those do. Here we have the spinach, and it is bolting. Wants to flower, so it's probably pretty bitter right now, and it's not going to do a whole lot more. So it's time to pull it out, and I have some lettuce to replant in that spot. We are planting new red fire in its spot. We'll see how that variety does. It's just a really good leaf lettuce. I have 6 plants here, which should be really good for this size square. The romaine lettuce over there doesn't look that great because of all the rain. So I'm just going to leave it alone this week. This plant definitely is not very happy about how wet the soil is. These look alright, but we're just going to let it go. And maybe harvest more of that next week. Alright, so that's ready. Onions look really good. They're growing in there. If you wanted to harvest any right now, you could, but they haven't gotten any big bulbs yet. So we're just gonna let them keep growing. the dill is ready to harvest. And actually it's starting to set seed here. I'm just going to cut the top half of each plant off. And you can use that fresh or dry it. You can freeze it too. I have the pepper here, it looks good. The leeks are getting a lot closer. But they still can go for a good while yet. And then Brussels sprouts. We have some Brussels sprouts ready. And these, you can just kind of pop off and actually cut some of the lower leaves off because the plant doesn't really need those right now anyhow, and they're kind of getting in the way of some of the other plants. So we'll get rid of some of those. And old leaves like this, very normal, just pull them off. They're just old. So now, I'm going to grab my scissors. And you can just go in there and snip off the Brussels sprouts.
How can you tell when they're ready?
Just when they're about this size. And they'll just keep coming as the plant grows. You can tell where the little ones are starting in there. In one of our recent videos, we harvested radishes and replanted, but not all of them sprouted, so I've reseeded some of these areas here. I think that it's just because it has been so wet. But they should come out of that and be just fine. So there's your update on the raised bed for this week. Stick with us, we'll be posting more videos, and have a great gardening day.